And welcome to the awareness interviews that we are running from removing our invisibility cloaks. So it's where we take off our little cloak that hides us and it shows what we actually deal with on a daily basis with our hidden disabilities and illnesses. So today I do have a lovely lady in front of me wearing her sash. And can you just introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Adrianne and I'm Miss Derbyshire Inspiration 2019 to 2020.
Perfect. So because you are wearing your sash, I am going to just talk about it quickly. Although it's not part of the interview, it's just good to get to know and get to know what you're doing behind the scenes. So how long have you been in pageants for?
This will be my second year competing, so not very long.
Not really long. And what system did you first do?
Miss Inspiration UK.
Oh, and that's the one that you're doing this time as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So you went back for the second year?
Yes, I thought, well, I can't not go back because it's a lovely system and, you know, I had a great time, so.
If you found the right system for you, it's always good to go back because there is so many systems out there. And I think if you found that home, then it's best to stay in that home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know the final date has been changed. When is it now?
So it's going to be January 2021.
Oh, so close still, not far now.
Yeah.
Are you all ready?
Just about, yeah. I'm kind of just plodding along now, and just hopefully it'll go well.
Just waiting for the day to come, and all of a sudden it will be there as quick as Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what made you start pageants then?
I was involved in my community, volunteering and fundraising, and I met a couple of queens whilst volunteering, and I kind of looked at what they did and I thought, oh, do you know what, I might give that a go myself.
And have you felt any different being part of pageants with you having a disability and illness?
No, I've actually found it strangely easier to be a bit more open. Like I've got involved in other Queens and Contestants campaigns like yourself, involving invisible illnesses and disability. So I kind of feel like it's kind of gave me a bit more of a platform to talk about it rather than kind of, you know, not really talking about it at all.
Yeah, definitely. I think, so as you can see behind me, I've got my sash. I haven't got it on because I'll probably be fiddling with it all throughout the interview. So I am part of pageants as well. So Miss West Midlands, Royal International Miss UK. I'm going back again because I've found that out. That system is me. It feels that it's family. So as like yourself, I've gone back to the same system to compete again. But yeah, I found that pageants have made me more confident and more accepting of who I am. So it is good to do, and it's helped a lot of people with illnesses. So we will get on to actually the discussion about illnesses now, so the interview on that. But first, can I just find a little bit out about yourself, please?
Yeah, I'm Adrianne, I'm 28. I'm a full-time nursery nurse. I have a dog called Kemp. I've got 3 younger brothers, and I'm originally from Yorkshire, but I now live in Derbyshire. And I enjoy fundraising, like the Race for Life and things like that. I enjoy swimming, yoga, and reading magazines.
So you're quite athletic then?
Well, I try.
Try to be.
Yeah.
Good to get the fundraising in as well though, so like there's so many Race for Lifes or fun runs, it's good to get the fundraising in and do something you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you've got a dog called Kemp. What type of dog is he?
He's a little border terrier. He's 8 months now.
Oh, so it's still a puppy.
Yeah, he's still a puppy.
Yeah. And I know that you suffer with mental health, don't you?
Yes.
So does having I know this sounds really weird, but does having a dog help with your mental health?
Yeah, I think animals kind of really like bring you a bit more calm, you know, and it's nice to kind of just be able to look after somebody, I guess. And yeah, he's loads of fun, and he's just really nice to have around. And yeah, if you've had a bad day, you just come home to that lovely ball of fluff.
Yeah,
And he's
just
so
give it a big
lovely.
cuddle.
Yeah.
And I bet you get your face licked.
Yes.
Yes, lots of doggy kisses.
Yeah.
So I've touched upon you having mental health. So let's just touch upon what illnesses and disabilities you do have.
Okay, so they're only mild, but I have mild anxiety and depression. That got officially diagnosed last year. I've kind of felt that way for quite a long time, but just never really spoke about it. I have mild dyslexia and dyspraxia. So dyslexia is a mild learning difficulty where you struggle with things like reading, writing, processing information, things like that. There's about 1 in 10 of us. Dyspraxia is not that well known. It's known as the clumsy syndrome, as you struggle a lot with coordination. So, hand-eye coordination, so things like catching a ball, tying shoelaces, little things like that. I'm terrible for judging where things are. So, like at work, I'm always falling over the chairs and stuff. Well, not like literally, but like I misjudge where they are. So yeah, it's there's no cure. But obviously there's a lot more support around than what there used to be, which is nice. So yeah, it's just all about raising as much awareness as possible and sort of gaining an understanding for myself as well. Um, I'm also visually impaired in my right eye. I was born prematurely at 25 weeks, so I was born with a detached retina in my right eye. So I only have partially sighted in my right eye, but full in the other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you don't wear glasses either.
No, I was born at 25 weeks, so back in the 90s, it was kind of 50-50% chance of survival. So I am quite lucky to be here, and actually to come away with something a bit more milder to perhaps someone else. There's a lot. There's a lot of individuals that have got, conditions like cerebral palsy and things like that from being born so early. So I have come away, pretty well off. It's just great to still have that 50% of being here. So
It's nice that
like
you've got that positive thought process on it as well.
yeah, definitely. I mean, my parents were quite open with me growing up, so I've got my photo album and things like that. When I was younger, to strengthen my eyesight, they tried a lot of different things, so like eye patches, contact lenses, things like that, just to sort of see if it'd help. But at 15, they turned around and said, look, there's nothing else we can do because they're not actually working, so I'm kind of just as I am. People have said about laser surgery, but it'd actually do more damage than good, so I'm kind of just, as I am. And the way I see it is I don't actually know any different, so
Yeah.
to me it's it is, whereas I think when you're older you know that difference, but for me it's just who I am.
Yeah, you've got nothing to compare it to, so because your sight
No.
wasn't different before, you don't know any different, as you said. Does that impact you at all in everyday life?
So I mean, I have my good and bad days. Like some days, my eye gets quite sore some days, and I have a tendency to squint. I work with my mum, so she's always like, "You're squinting," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." She's like, "You are. I can see you squinting." I'm like, "Okay." And at work, I work with children, so I just take my time with things like handwriting the reports and things because it'll just take a bit longer. Things like that. Apart from that, you just kind of get on with your everyday tasks. When I was younger, when I was in class, I used to sit on the right hand side in the classroom. So then when I'm looking at the board, it's with my good eye, if that makes sense. Whereas if I was this side, it'd be the full view this side, so I wouldn't really see it as much. But at school, it was a bit of a struggle to get through. But, I passed in the end, and I just think, well, I did it. And then I got diagnosed with my mild learning difficulties at university because I knew then, right, hang on, it's not just school, college, university is still, an issue in terms of, my studying and, processing and things, surely there's something. So I went for a psychological assessment. It was only an educational one, but I know they do more in-depth ones. I don't know where they do those. But yeah, it was just an educational one, and that's where I found out about those.
So what support did the university put in place for you then?
So by then it was quite late. I was nearly at the end of my second year. So because I'd already failed a couple of essays, I had to go to an appeal board. So the help was kind of being processed at the time where the appeal board. So I got withdrawn before I could actually use it, which I suppose it is what it is. It's their decision. But if I had the help, I would have had things like a laptop and things like that. I mean, I was allowed extra time in exams because that was obviously quite easy to implement. But in terms of like the equipment and stuff, it was just sort of processing it.
And have you finished your studies at university?
No, I only managed to do nearly 2 years. So yeah, I got taken off the course. So obviously now I'm doing something else now.
But do you enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm a full-time nursery nurse. So I do enjoy what I'm doing. It's still working with children, which is what I wanted to do. I would like to go back to studying one day. Obviously for now it's quite nice.
So hopefully one day you can get back there, but it's nice that you're doing something that you actually wanted to go into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we've learned a little bit about your illnesses. We've learned a little bit about your diagnosis process. What about your mental health journey? So you said it's only mild.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a hard one to explain. I mean, I kind of felt the same way since a child. I was quite anxious all the time about things. You'd lie awake, and if I don't know, you've forgotten your homework or something, you'd kind of overthink, oh, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, sort of thing. Things like that, and new places. Fear that I'm going to get something wrong and things like that. So sometimes at work, I'm not as confident as perhaps I should be. I tend to doubt myself a lot, and get quite low in that respect. So last year, it kind of really got to the point where my family were like, right, you kind of need to go and get some help now. So yeah, I went to the GP, and she prescribed me some they're called sertraline antidepressants. So yeah, I've been taking them since last year, and then I've had therapy as well. So just to kind of tackle those issues a bit more.
And do you feel that helps you get a little bit of a happy medium?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's made a bit more sense of it all. And like, especially I think sometimes going to talk to somebody that you don't know is perhaps easier than talking to those around you sometimes. Because that person who you're speaking to in the therapy room is there to do their job, and they'll know the tools and things, whereas perhaps your family don't quite know how to tackle it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes you can overthink that people are judging you, but they're actually not. So that's what I suffer with my anxiety. I always think that when I walk into a room, someone's judging me, but they're not judging you. It's just what our head likes to do to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how have you found your anxiety has been with the pandemic that we're in at the minute?
At first, I was obviously like everybody else. We're on the same boat, kind of unsure what was going to happen and things like that. So obviously that grew with anxiety in terms of, if we're all not being able to go to work and things, how we're going to, manage things like that. And obviously the furlough scheme came along. So I was furloughed for 2 months. And in that time, I was able to kind of take a bit more time to myself. My brothers were at home, and obviously the dog. I set up my own project, Fierce Foot Forward, so that was quite nice to have the time to do that. And then just kept on top of little things like appearances and the cleaning and just little jobs like that. And I think sometimes it's just nice just to take the time out a bit.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of you time in the normal world without a pandemic.
No.
So it's nice that you found a positive in it.
Yeah.
So in regards to your illnesses and conditions, do they affect your everyday life? So can you drive at all with your eyesight?
No, I can't drive. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to drive. I'm not sure, but I've never taken a driving lesson, so I don't know. It was kind of just implemented that I wouldn't be able to drive, so I do rely on public transport. I mean, I'm quite lucky that I can walk to work every day. And obviously, with tasks like writing and things, I just kind of try and take my time with them a bit more. I mean, my workplace are really good. They do know about these things. So yeah, I do just tend to just take my time with things. I have good days and bad days like everybody else. So yeah, when I'm having a kind of off day, like everything just doesn't seem to go right, and I'm just sort of like overtired and things, and really like tearful and what have you. And then I'm like, oh yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be a good day.
Yeah, we have to try and look forward rather than look back, I guess, when we're having our bad days.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so looking at your illnesses then, so I know that you didn't get diagnosed until later on in life. Since you've been diagnosed, have you suffered with any discrimination from anyone?
Not particularly, but it's just kind of like the little tasks, like my handwriting, has been the main thing. People have said it's like really messy. They don't want to use my work for, for particular things. I've always been told to write neater and things like that. And certainly with my university course, because it was quite an intense course, they were saying about my handwriting, things like that. So yeah, it's kind of an odd one. And then, because a lot of things aren't really spoken about, people make assumptions a lot of the time, like, in-depth assumptions, and it kind of hurts sometimes because I'm like, well, it's not that, it's actually this, but it's really hard to explain to those individuals. But yeah, my handwriting has been the biggest issue.
And then you look at doctors who have gone through all these qualifications and their handwriting, you can't even read it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. So we'll look at the positives then, because you do sound quite a positive person. So you said you've always look at the future ahead if you're having a bad day. So what positive advice can you give to someone that suffers with a condition, so if they're having a bad day?
So I'd just say, obviously, always remember that you are here, you're alive. Everyone's got a good support network around them. So, access that support network. Try and kind of keep up with your little hobbies and things like that. And if you've got a job, it's amazing, to go out to work every day. I love going out to work every day. And just think positive and keep yourself active and busy. I mean, I know when we do have a bad day, the most common thing we want to do is kind of bury our head in the sand and kind of forget about it and get away from it all. But really, just taking little steps, getting up, have a good breakfast, get dressed, go for a walk. If you've got a hobby, like I said, just keep on top of that, and give someone a call, things like that. And if you've got a job, be open with them and just say, look, today is not a good day, but I'm still here, I'm still gonna keep going. And 99% of the time employers will understand.
Yeah, I think honesty is always the best case. If you try and hide it away, they're never going to understand what you're going through unless you speak to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've mentioned that you do a lot of athletics. So you do running, you do fundraising. What have you achieved despite you living with these conditions?
So I have I volunteered for cancer research for 11 years. And I've got my badge on here. I don't know if you can see it. It's next to that one right there somewhere. There.
Oh yeah.
That's my 10-year service badge.
Wow.
With pride. So with that, I kind of, gained skills, friends, You know, I take part in the Race for Life every year. I mean, I know this year's going to be a little bit different. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of medals in total, which is really nice. I like swimming when I can go. It's the best sport, I think, because you know, you go at your own pace and you know, you use all your muscles. So it is a really good sport for anybody, and a relaxation sport as well. And with fundraising, I like just kind of, you know, taking time to sort of help others. So I've just completed a virtual rainbow run for the Derby Hospital. We had to do 5k in your own time because obviously the colour rush has been cancelled. But obviously there's always other ways around things, so it's quite nice that there's other options you can do. And then, you know, I just think myself as a good role model for others, just to kind of, you know, get yourself out there. And within my job as well, you know, I work with children, so hopefully they look up to me as you know, their nursery teacher and think, oh, you know, she's doing a good job.
It's good as well, because you obviously didn't finish your university degree, that you can show that although you don't finish that degree, you can still find a good job to go into. You shouldn't put yourself down for not being able to finish it.
Yeah, I think sometimes there is a lot of pressure to do certain things. Like I don't know about you, but certainly when I was at college, like they didn't promote the other options. Like university was kind of the main option. And obviously we all, you know, whether you want to do that, you kind of go and do that sort of thing. But there are other options out there, and there's always options out there. I think sometimes, you know, you just have to branch out a bit and just find what's right for you.
I'd completely agree. So my husband still struggles to know what he wants to do with his life. I think you're not always going to know. There's something. There's not going to be something out there that goes wow to everyone. Everyone's got different skill sets. For me, I was told you won't get a good job unless you go to university, but I actually got myself a really good career, and I was on the same salary as some people were that had gone to university and had that debt behind them. But you don't need to. It depends what job you want to go into. Obviously, if you want to be a doctor, then you do need to go down that route. But you've got to decide what you want to do first. And if you don't need to go to university, you don't need to put yourself through that pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think pressure is a lot nowadays. You know, like I'm still living at home. I'm not married. I've not got children. I've not got a partner or anything. And sometimes you do look at other people and think, oh, you know, maybe I should, like, you know, get a move on because everyone else is doing all those things, but I'm not doing those things. And you know, you do kind of get a bit down about it because, you know, you kind of think, well, should I be doing all those things, or am I quite all right as I am? You know,
I think if you're happy as you are, there's no set time, not even for these achievements. Some people don't even get married in their life and they're happy like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what's key. As long as you are happy in the situation you're in, then why not just carry on as you are?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really good to obviously understand your later diagnosis, because a lot of people get that diagnosis while they're through school. So did you struggle at school with your issues?
Yeah. Like I struggled at school, and you know, you know, you kind of just get not labelled, but it's like, oh, you know, she's lazy or whatever. You know, and people are always like, oh, you need to make sure your handwriting's neater, but it's not always that easy. I mean, I can try and
Yeah.
you know do it neater, but sometimes it just takes a lot longer. And honestly, sometimes when I was at school, I was thinking, crikey, I'm never going to remember all this, you know, because it just didn't really stick with me. You know, learning things. You know, and I'll always remember in a PE lesson, like with hand-eye coordination, we were in rounders, and they threw the ball, and I couldn't catch it. And they're like, "Can you not catch or something?" And I felt like turning around and saying, "Actually, no, I can't. I do struggle with catching a ball, but you know, at the time, I was like, oh, yeah."
Made you feel a little bit stupid when you shouldn't have been.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just little things like that. it's just the understanding side. I mean, I'd love to kind of, go in depth a bit more with the diagnosis just to see, how far it goes. But I guess, I don't know.
It's interesting finding out about all these different illnesses though, and the different diagnosis
Yeah.
process, especially autism. That diagnosis process is a very long process to get diagnosed, and there is
Yeah.
so many different spectrums. And they do say to leave at a certain time. So because obviously when you're young, you're just developing, so sometimes they pull it towards that. Like for yourself, they put it towards your eyesight, but it was actually something behind that as well.
Yeah.
So I would always say, if you do feel something still isn't right, to try and get answers.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the thing for me, when I was at university, I was still struggling. I thought, you know what, even if I go and get answers and there is nothing, it's it's fine. It's not a problem. At least I've gone and investigated it a bit more rather than just, leaving it and then kind of wondering,
Yeah, you don't want to wonder your whole life, why am I like this? Because there's
Yeah.
essentially an answer there, and you found your answer.
Yeah.
So looking at positives, do you have a positive quote that you live by?
I do love things like, I mean, I don't know if you know, but I do love my quotes. I do
You can
love
reel
things
some
like,
off if you want, a list if you want.
yeah, I do love my quotes, but I think the one that sticks with me at the moment is, passion fuels purpose and purpose fuels passion. If you find your passion in life, it will give you a sense of purpose. And I think as humans, no matter who you are, it will make you happier. Whether it's your job, a hobby, what have you. If you find something that you're passionate about, and go with it, it will turn into a purpose, and you'll feel like, your life is, going somewhere.
I definitely agree with that. So when I was diagnosed with my illness, my passion was work. So I built up a career. I became a trainer for mortgage advisors, and to lose that, I lost my purpose. So then I've obviously found awareness of invisible illnesses and disabilities as my purpose. And since then, I've been so much happier with my mental health because there's something I'm aiming towards in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I think that changes as well as we go on. Like, you found your new purpose. So, that's great that you can just use your own awareness to help others. But I think it's key just to find, your own purpose in life and, just take it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely agree. And like you said as well, if there's a change in a purpose, that's fine as well, because it's not going to be continuous for the rest of your life. There's always going to be something else that, as a goal that you find.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there anything else that you would like to add to the interview?
I don't think so. Thank you very much for having me, and I hope it's kind of helped in some way. I've really enjoyed being a part of it. And if anybody wants to get in contact, they're more than welcome to.
Well, if they're struggling with the diagnosis process for dyspraxia or dyslexia, I may put them towards you. I had heard of dyslexia, but dyspraxia, I'll be honest, I'd heard of it, but I didn't fully understand what it was until you've explained today.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I didn't know what it was myself, really, until, I got the diagnosis. But when I looked into it, it kind of all links because they did say that people that are born prematurely are more likely to have it, because if you're underdeveloped and your brain's underdeveloped, the coordination side of your brain might not be fully developed. So it kind of, it kind of makes sense.
Well, at least you've got your answers. That's what's important.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, well, thank you for your time today. It was lovely speaking to you.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.